No, no, you're absolutely right, Karma, that there are many, many geopolitical flashpoints. And sadly, they're all in our region. Because the prospects of war between any two European states today is zero. I mean, unfortunately, UK and France will never go to war.
No,
I mean, they may insult each other, go to war with each other.
Yeah,
There'll be no zero chance of war between UK and France, UK and Germany, Germany and France, and so on and so forth. And frankly, zero prospect of war between the United States and Canada, or even, frankly, in South America, in most of Africa or so, you won't see major interstate wars. But paradoxically, most of the most dangerous places where you can get a big wars, like the ones between India and Pakistan, or between China and Vietnam, or between China and the US, will take place in our region. But of all these flashpoints, I mean, you mentioned Korea, but you will see lots of missiles being fired in what he calls to get attention by North Korea, but there'll be no war in the Korean Peninsula, because both sides understand the stakes very, very clearly. And whereas by contrast, the place that is becoming the most dangerous place in the world is Taiwan. And what most people in the world are not aware of is that the last 10 months of 2020 were actually very, very dangerous, because what kept peace...
We are sorry to interrupt you, but before we move on to the next point, we noticed that a lot of you are returning viewers who have not subscribed. If you've enjoyed our content, subscribing would mean the world to us. It's a small click for you, but it makes a huge difference for us. Thank you for your support.
In Taiwan Straits was the agreement between US and China on the One China policy, whereby the United States would maintain official ties with Beijing and unofficial ties with Taiwan. And this was part of what they call the One China policy. So as long as everyone's stuck to that policy, no dangers. But when Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, tried to change it and say, why can't we have official relations with Taiwan? And the minute we start to weaken the One China policy, that's when the prospects of war went up dramatically, because no Chinese leader can accept Taiwan becoming independent. So the danger of a war starting accidentally went up dramatically. And you saw what's been revealed in this book by Bob Woodward, which is, if it is true, is actually quite stunning, that the head of the US military's chief of defense forces called his counterpart in China to say, please let me assure you that even if President Donald Trump orders me to launch a nuclear strike against China, I will not do so. Now that's, for him to do that, showed that he was aware that this could happen, you know? And the fact that he thought that a nuclear war could happen should be a major wake-up call for all of us. And so we need to pull back from that dangerous point. So on the one hand, we live in the most peaceful era in human history. On the other hand, we are also about to enter one of the most dangerous periods in human history, because, you know, the prospects of a nuclear war, and a nuclear war, of course, is something that the world actually has never experienced. We've had 2 bombs that were dropped in Japan after World War II, and we saw how much devastation they did. But in a nuclear war, let's say the one that could happen is one between China and the United States. United States would lose 10 to 15 cities, at least. China would lose more than double the number of cities. Millions would die. In theory, such a horrible outcome, the prospect should be zero, but they're not zero. And that's why I think it's very important for us to understand what leads to wars And what do we do to prevent wars from happening? Because peace is a bit like the oxygen in this room. All of us are breathing it, but we don't notice it. We'll only notice it when someone sucks away the oxygen in the room. So in the case of peace too, once it's sucked away, and when war breaks out, then you realize how amazing peace is. You only notice it when it goes away. I would say South China Sea, I don't worry that much. Frankly, in the South China Sea, there'll be maneuvers, but there might even be a skirmish, but there'll be no war. I mean, major war. Because there's room for flexibility in that area, right? There's no room for flexibility on Taiwan. Zero flexibility. Because the Chinese, as you know this better than I do, Karma, for them, the century of humiliation, 1842 to 1949, is like yesterday. You know, from the seizure of Hong Kong in the First Opium War to the loss to the Japan, the Sino-Japanese War in 1895, which led to Taiwan being seceded for the first time, as you know. So all these memories of the century of humiliation, most of them have gone away except for one, which is Taiwan. And there is a total unanimity of views in China that at some point in time there must be a reunification within Taiwan and China. The best case outcome is some kind of peaceful reunification, or even something where you postpone the current situation and let the status quo remain, where the people of Taiwan are at peace. And the people of Taiwan enjoy a wonderful life, by the way. I love Taiwan. I've been there many times.
I'm quite fond of it myself.
I've been there many times, and it's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
And people are very happy and doing very well. So don't disrupt the status quo. But this is why when Mike Pompeo said, hey, we're going to try and establish official relations with Taiwan, that's where he didn't realize that he was crossing a Chinese red line, and therefore could have triggered a very strong military response from China. And the military response would have come because the Chinese leaders cannot afford to be seen to be weak on the Taiwan issue. Their hands are actually tied. And what the good news, by the way, is that the Biden administration that has come in since January understands that. And if you notice that every Biden administration official, without fail, I heard the Secretary of Defense, Lloyd Austin, speak at Fullerton Hotel when he was here a couple of months ago. He reiterated the Biden administration stands by the one China policy. And as long as the US keeps saying that, then there'll be no nuclear war.
What do you guys think? Do guys think he is right that we are entering the most dangerous part in human history? Please leave your comment below. We would love to hear from you.
Thank you for making it this far. If you like this video, you might want to share it with a like-minded friend. Thank you, and as always, stay blessed.